The average price of a gallon of gasoline in Rhode Island has inched up by a penny. That's according to AAA Northeast. Regular is now selling for an average of $2.15 per gallon, which is a nickel higher than a month ago, but 58 cents per gallon lower than the in-state price 1 year ago. Rhode Island's average price is 3 cents lower than the national average.
The managing director of Paragon Trust Company and tax and private client practitioner joins us to bring a common sense approach to money in a world of total insanity. Let's welcome Tony D'Angelo.
All right, one of our pals. Actually, he's becoming a cult favorite here on the radio with the digging that he does and the detective work that he goes through to try to bring about justice. Our good pal, Tony D'Angelo. Tony, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, and proud to be among you guys.
So we're going to start with COVID, or where are we going first?
Well, I'd like to talk about something that's been troubling me, and this is sort of a public counseling session. The effects of our society that COVID has given us. Now here's some, positive effects, and of course here I'm being sarcastic. We have no more opioid crisis. It's gone. It's over. We have no more flu. And all of the women's issues, and this is the thing I really want to talk about, sexual abuse, domestic violence, economic development, gone. We don't hear about them anymore. But really the sad thing is, the longer these lockdowns go on, and the screwy economics, one day we're open and we're closed the next, and all that kind of thing, the more women, our sisters, our wives, our girlfriends, our female friends, they all suffer. They bear the brunt of it. One of the things I've seen in practice for years and years and years, if you have elderly parents and you have boys and girls in a family, the guys are just going about, hey, what's, how's Carol doing with mom? It always falls to the women. That's just the way it is. Now, just some of the facts that, women have hourly jobs more so, and they bear a lot of that work and elder responsibility, and they're more inclined to, a lot of them have occupations like teaching or teacher's assistant and things like that are all up and down. And as we're, going out and saving the world from COVID and not taking responsible steps to open, women are catching this thing, 6 ways from Sunday. And the sad thing is, just think last night with the governor's flip-flopping on the schools. Now, I'm not a parent. I'm not a grandparent. But we're open. We're closed. On the second pitch, you run. On the third pitch, you advance to third. What happens? People get home. They start fighting. And I just hate to think about what happened in the state last night. But you never, ever, ever hear people in politics and government and whatever talk about, support for women, and it's more than just throwing money or more unemployment or that kind of thing. I just have a big concern about that because we're missing it, man, terribly.
So you think the women, being under the majority of the pressure when it comes to, because they're more often than not the caregiver, so they're under a lot of pressure. I would also think that just the life at home, right, the dynamic of home, especially if you've got kids. The
tension.
It's got to be unbelievable right now, right?
Well, it is. And I know, daughters of colleagues or some of the younger women that, I come across over the course of a work day, or people we work with and that sort of thing. They're losing their minds, and I mean very close to the point of snapping. So when you're looking at this thing from a public health standpoint, this is like, at best, it's the worst management I've seen. At worst, or probably more accurately, it's a good way to leave the door open to run more trains through. Now, the governor says last night, well, I may have to extend the state of emergency past September 9th, so I could do this thing with the schools. Again, I look humanitarian. Again, pal, you cripple society when you do that, and it's starting to become a little bit irritating.
Are they sort of on the same, is everybody on the same page now, Tony, with the idea that, because I've read a number of reports where this quarantine of making folks stay at home just doesn't work. I mean, there are one report that says, well, it's better to stay home than it is to go out. But then there's other reports that say, you quarantine at home nonstop and you're just asking for other issues.
Well, I think it's inarguable that from a quote-unquote societal standpoint, from damage in all sorts of things, when you're quarantining above all else, it's the Lieutenant Calley School of Management. You're destroying the village to save it. That's clear. Look at what's happening. That's absolutely, positively clear.
All right, switching to money today.
Well, this is what happens now. Our state, when we think that we're going to have welfare, not welfare in the welfare sense, but means for women to economically develop. Remember, we had the story of the two nonprofits. We had Advanced CT, which on their website they say they are the former CERC, Connecticut Economic Research Resource Commission, if I have those words exactly right. And we figured out that during our segments that it's really two, and this is a blatant lie as far as that is concerned. One of probably 20 at this point, but a large part of this charity, be it charity A or charity B, is supposed to be there for the development of women's businesses. Now, you think if one door closes and another one opens, that the money that's there should be going to one charity as opposed to the other, notwithstanding the shell game of using two charities, and we talked about that. But when you actually run down the spending, the CERC, which is supposed to be right now defunct, is active on the state registry, on the state corporate registry. It also received $2 million in 2020, most recently in April. So it's like, where is this money going? And if the argument is, well, we're transitioning and all that other sort of stuff, number one, that doesn't wash. You have an ID number and you have an InCorp for Advanced CT. The other thing is that if that's what you're going to say, you've got the Advanced CT charity, which is being funded by the DECD, the Department of Economic and Community Development, largely, utility kickbacks. People are saying, why are my utility rates so high? Well, this may possibly be a reason. And, you've got both these things running, and there's no accountability whatsoever on these funds, Lee Elci. It's just... And I look at this, and it's like every time something comes out of Hartford, or every time a legislator stays silent, like in the case of the identity theft of Boston Consulting, it's money, huge amounts of money are flying all over the place, and nobody seems to know, nor care, nor question, nor pay attention.
So Tony, how does that work? So if you're an organization that's supposed to give out business loans or business opportunity for women, and is it, who makes the final decision, and who decides how much goes where, and is there a cap on every business? Well,
there's supposed to be, when you have these nonprofits that sort of are like state partners, there's supposed to be accountability and transparency. We should be able to look in. We should be able to see. There's a board of directors. There's a management. There's if you're doing something good, you want to show it to everybody to see, see how it works. If you're playing behind the eight ball, you're doing stuff like this.
Yeah, but if it's something like let's say if my wife goes to these guys and says, well, I want to open up a lizard farm. In in Montville, where people can come and watch my lizards run around. Well, obviously that's stupid, but they're going to give. Is it just randomly giving money? Is there a bank sort of that's attached to this that says viability? How does that work?
You'll probably be directed to the DECD, who would write you a loan, or they would connect you with a bank loan, and there's public-private partnerships and things like that. It's quote-unquote the bureaucratic loops. Now, in our particular situation, the bureaucratic loops are especially loopy because it's the kind of thing that it's either there to discourage you, or it's there so it could be hidden another way. If you're asking if Christine can go from point A to point B really easily and get something done really quickly, no, I'm afraid that's not the case, my friend.
All right, what about if Christine, or let's say we'll give another person, let's say Sue is good friends with the person who's rubber stamping these loans. How easy is it for that person rubber stamping these loans or these giveaways to say, oh yeah, I like Sue's idea, she's going to start a record company, and I think records are on their way back.
Well, you see a lot of that, and my answer is a heck of a whole lot easier. Because it's the kind of thing where something is said and something is reported, and everybody thinks, "Oh, this is a wonderful thing." But when you actually get to see how the money is moving and where it's all going, it's a difficult thing to see at best. And as far as the practicality of it, the whole COVID-19 FEMA thing, beyond what I can comprehend, is the dollars don't add up with the press clippings. That's all I can tell
So
you.
I'm going to ask the question more direct. I'm going to say, is it easy then for somebody in these pseudo organizations, these public-private organizations, to rubber stamp loans/grants to people in cases where maybe they are friends or family or friends of friends?
No doubt, absolutely, positively, no doubt.
That's really unbelievable.
Yeah, and it's the kind of thing where, if there's $2 million going out of the CERC, which is supposed to be defunct now, where is that going? It's not that I'm asking, but I'll tell you, it's not coming here. It's simple as that and just as difficult.
It's amazing. All right, listen, buddy, I appreciate it as always. You're the best, and we thank you. We're happy you're part of the show, and we'll talk to you next week.
My pleasure.
All
Best
right,
to everyone.
Tony D'Angelo, again, check him out. He's on Facebook. He's part of Fortress Fiduciary, and if there's one guy you're going to go to about money, he's the guy. All right.